The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
this is the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
It might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't care.
The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the Sports Guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The BS Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report, a Friday morning here in Southern California. There's no snow, there's sun, there's a blue sky, and there's Adam Carolla. What's happening?
Yeah, get it on.
He is not on the Subway Fresh Take Hotline. He's in the studio. So
No.
I'm a little groggy. I was up till 2:30 in the morning writing my football column last night.
What the hell?
I know.
I'm ready to talk pigskin. I also got a movie to talk about, too.
Got a movie, but you're not watching Lights Out.
I feel like I've seen 8 episodes just by seeing the commercials.
I would have thought a boxing drama on FX, that would have been something you would have TiVo'd, and yet you haven't seen that, but you could tell me everything that Camille Grammer has done on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
That witch. Don't get me started, Bill. You're
She's
trying
a
to get me
troublemaker.
started. She's an instigator.
Yeah, she really
She
is.
invites the girls over for tea.
Yeah.
They have the psychic lady sit next to them. She has a couple of highballs. Things get out of hand.
That was one of the greatest hours of television I've ever seen. What did you think of the psychic?
The psychic was angry.
She freaked me out.
She was weird. Here's the thing about psychics.
Okay.
There should be some sort of law, like we have professional laws, fiduciary laws in our society, which is to say, like, you can't talk to your lawyer and tell him, look, I did kill my wife, and have him run out of the room. Hey, guess what? Guess what Bill told me.
Yeah.
And you can't talk to your therapist about things and have them go on their podcast and start yapping about.
What is it, like doctor-patient privilege?
Yeah,
and
there's
lawyer-client privilege.
There's just certain laws in place that you have with your agent, with your therapist, with your doctor. It's just attorney. There's laws. And wait a minute, what the hell was I talking about?
For the psychic to divulge.
Psychics shouldn't be, like, if a guy's a psychic and he walks up to you and he goes, ooh, that's bad. you know what I mean? Like, there's got to be a certain professionalism.
Yeah.
I am telling you. And the thing about psychics is everyone goes, come on, who believes in that crap? Well, who believes in that crap until they come up to you and go, oh man, wow, have you gotten a CAT scan lately? Have you gotten a checkup? There's something going on inside you. You should check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see me feel anything, any bulges, any tumors? You will officially be freaked out. I don't care if you're Penn Jillette. At that point, you're freaked out. So it's unfair for psychics, especially to talk to feeble-minded women.
Right.
Because these women they're half in already.
Yep.
I had many years ago when I was doing Love Lines with Dr. Drew, James Von Prague came on.
It's a great name.
Von
It sounds
Prague.
like a name from one of your movies.
It sounds like the name of a guy who should wear a cape full time. Von Prague. Dr. Von Prague. Here, hold my cape.
Yeah.
And he'd have a cape. He'd be a guy who'd take his cape off and have a smaller cape on underneath it. Dual cape.
And then
and then like a backup cape.
Yep.
Yeah. Von Prague, who, by the way, if you want to have some Google fun, just put in Von Prague and then put in Larry Zonka. He is like, I'm not saying Von Prague is gay. I'm just saying if Larry Zonka was gay, he would look like Von Prague. That's all I'm saying.
I'm going to interrupt for 1 second. You have your own website, adamcarolla.com. Why don't you just put all the lookalikes that you've badgered us about?
I'm going to write that down.
Because I've heard the Zonka Von Prague thing like 10
Have you ever looked it up?
Well, because you've brought a computer over to my face and made me stare at it.
He's the same dude. Von Prague.
Clint Howard and Cousin Sal's kid.
A young Clint Howard.
Von Prague and Zonka.
Von Prague is Larry Zonka. The thing is that the only thing, and I said to Von Prague, you look exactly like Larry Zonka, and he said, who? And then I realized everybody who knows who Von Prague is and who goes to his seminars Not one person in that room's heard of Larry Zonka,
Right.
and vice versa. So
yeah,
there's nobody to
interesting.
tell either one of them because there's no commingling with that group. Von Prague he crossed the psychic line. He came on Loveline. He was talking to me during a commercial. He turns to me and he says, you live up on a hill?
Oh, no.
And I said, yeah. And he said, French doors. I see French doors in the kitchen. By the way, everyone who lives on a hill in Southern California
Probably
has
has French doors.
By the way, I call them freedom doors. You know what I mean? Forget about, remember when we were doing freedom fries about 5 years ago? I said, forget about the fries. I'm a carpenter. Freedom doors.
I like it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Screw those Frenchies.
Good.
All right. He says, you have French doors looking out to the back? I said, yeah. Now, you can picture my house and my kitchen. He said, open area, open fields out there to the right, open vacant lot. I said, yeah. And then Dr. Drew, who was a man of medicine, made things much worse by going, oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's like you've been to his house. Yeah. He said, people have been watching. People have been watching you.
Oh, no.
I said, what do you mean? What kind of people? And I said, hot chicks? And it's like, it's never hot chicks, by the way. Gang types, gangbangers, 3 of them, 3 3 or 4.
And now you're living in fear the rest of your life.
They've been in that open area at night when you're in the kitchen. Oftentimes relieving yourself in your own sink. They've been watching you, You probably tip you got from Drew, watching you. And so now I'm freaking out. Like, okay, I'm home. I'm at work now. You gotta understand, it's almost midnight. And I'm thinking my wife and kids are at home now.
There's
alone.
3 gangbangers in the open area outside her house.
Watching.
Yeah.
And so he said, do you have an alarm? I said, yeah. He said, keep it on. And I was like, huh? And the thing that made it worse is Dr. Drew, who's, just the most rational man of medicine on the planet, is like, oh, yeah, that's his house. Oh, yeah. And he's doing this thing where he's describing, you're over this area, he's describing my house. And Drew is like, oh, yeah, that's it, you're right. He's like kind of laughing and marveling at the guy, except for he's missing the part where the gangbangers are in the bushes and the field across the way watching. I mean, like out of a movie, Bill. I come home, it's 12:30 at night, it's completely desolate where I live, it's moonless night, it's like really out of a movie, like
it's the kind of place that has coyotes occasionally.
Coyotes all over the place.
Yeah.
Just past a sign on my street saying coyotes out during the day, keep your animals in. Like there's like wind blowing, pitch black. I'm running around with like a flashlight and a machete, like looking in the bushes, trying to see, I see at some point, I see like a candy wrapper and a beer can. I'm like, God, that's where they were. That's where their camp was. Freaked out. I can't tell my wife because I know she'll go insane. Right. That was Von Prague pulling my Von chain on that one. But he freaked me out, and I'm just saying, and I'm an atheist who doesn't give a crap. Even I was freaked out. So when you take a bunch of ditzy 50-something Botoxed up broads, put them in a room, give them a couple
strong cocktails,
a couple of strong cocktails, and then start telling them about their husband stepping out on them.
The emotional connection just isn't there. What?
It'd be a good investment, actually.
What?
Probably we should talk about this off the air, but it'd be a nice investment for us. No, because they don't do anything but freak out our women. And I know your wife is going out with my wife.
Settle down.
Yeah, I know. There's
still a surprise.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I know there's stuff going on.
Yeah.
The point is this. It'd be a nice investment. We get our wives. We have a little psychic party, like girls' night psychic party, right?
Oh yeah.
Invite all the wives and all that stuff.
Are you saying we bribe the psychic to say,
right?
I like it.
And here's the psychic. The psychic's like, and what about my husband, Bill? Very devoted. Very devoted. He would never. Let me close my eyes. He could never do it. I don't even know if he'd set foot in a Hooters. He is so devoted. And then they'd say to my wife, "What about Adam? What about?" again, even more devoted than Bill.
Won't even
Would
glance
never.
at somebody's breasts if they're not looking.
Yeah, down totally sickened by the thought of the touch of another woman.
It's a great idea.
You just plant that seed, and then later on, I mean, even if you got busted sexting someone at 4 a.m. or you go full Charlie Sheen, doesn't matter. They'll have that psychic. What did the psychic say? They'll always have the psychic in the back of their mind.
I'll tell you about psychics. If it was all BS, then why do the police use them to try to figure out like where missing kids are and who the serial killer is? Like, it can't all be BS if they're doing that.
That is the one that's freaky when they use when the cops
and then the
them.
psychic's like, yeah, I saw a license plate. It's a white van with Oklahoma plates. And then a month later, they find the white van with Oklahoma plates.
But by the way, half that stuff is I see woods in a creek. Well, they don't dump people in the middle of the Cherry Hill Mall at the Cinnabon. There's always some woods in a creek involved.
I've seen the LA Design Center for some reason.
I've seen the roof of the Sears Tower. No, it's always, of course, there's a woods in the creek,
I've been watching Celebrity Rehab on the treadmill.
Yeah.
I've been watching. I find that on the treadmill, I need bad reality shows. Well, actually, that's not a bad show, but I need reality shows. You can kind of turn your brain off. You don't have to totally hear it.
Yeah.
And it's really the first time I've dove into that world. Dr. Drew might be better at his job than anybody else is at their job. Think if there was an offensive coordinator like Dr. Drew who can see any situation and just be like, oh, well, let's run the misdirection pass to the tight end there. That's going to work. These celebrities just sit in front of him, and he just breaks them apart like a defense.
Yeah, he's good.
Your dad molested you?
Well,
was it an uncle?
I sat next to the man for 11 years. So
you learn those skills, though. Like, after a while, it's almost like the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours of practice on anything. Well, you eventually get the reps, and you just know.
You know what it is? The voice, you can hear what people are by the tone of their voice.
Oh, yeah, do the 6-year-old girl trap thing. That was a good one.
What? 6-year-old girl is
what's
trapped.
The girl, like, if you're molested at a certain age, your voice stays in that age?
Yeah, whatever, like, Drew and I, to some degree, from doing all the years of Loveline, is it Loveline or Love Lines?
Loveline.
Check into that. The point is this. You can not only tell if someone was molested, you can tell what year they were molested or how old they were when they were molested because they get trapped. Their voice gets trapped. If they sound very little girly, then they're very young, and so on and so forth. So not only can Drew tell when they were molested, he can tell how old they were when they were molested. It's really weird, but there's a lot that comes through the person's voice.
Yeah.
And you can hear angry people.
And the addiction, he can pick apart why they have the addiction and what the reasons were for that.
Yeah, he's good at what he does. But let me ask you this, Bill, and I need you to really, really give this some thought. His success rate is not awesome. Like, a lot of these people go back out. Leif Garrett is high right now. I promise you. I passed him on the way
Our friend
here.
Brad, who's had some addiction troubles over the years and who's now 6 years sober, and he watches that show. Almost like a veteran quarterback watching the young quarterbacks.
Breaking down the game film.
And he's just like, Leif Garrett.
Oh, yeah.
Not making it.
No, he's not. And so, and when you see about the guys, I don't know, Sizemore, Heidi Fleiss, whoever, here's the deal. 9 out of 10 people who go to rehab ain't going to be clean for the first 3 months after they leave. That's just the way the business goes. But let me ask you this, and we can break this down. It's a fun, you know what? It's a fun drinking game, actually. The last 10 films that were made by, Dr. Drew's last 10 patients and their success rate versus Nic Cage's last 10 films.
So you're saying Leif Garrett's Season of the Witch?
Yes. It's one of, it could be Bangkok, seriously, or whatever that, but the point is this. Go on Rotten Tomatoes, find the last 10 Nic Cage films.
Didn't the last one set the record, right? How have we not seen that? It got a 4.
Well, I was lucky enough to hop on it when it was at a 1 on Rotten Tomatoes. Ooh. Yeah, which is actually marginally worse than 0.
I don't understand how he keeps getting movies.
Here's how.
He opens
He's nuts.
3 movies a year.
All right, you want to know what it is? Here's the answer. International.
Oh.
It's like the Japanese don't make fun of him. The Hungarians. They don't. First off, these people, they think David Hasselhoff is a major talent.
Oh, so you're saying he's our generation's David Hasselhoff?
I'm saying all this stuff, when you can't figure something out, like you're like, what the hell? Who the hell wants to? How many bombs? It says, think international sales. Picture the poster with this guy and then all the crazy stuff and all the stupid films he does. Picture that in some Asian countries. You know what I'm saying?
So you're saying when a movie studio does a Nic Cage movie, they give up on the American distribution immediately. They know it's going to be critically panned. It's going to make a certain amount.
Somebody goes, look, what's the budget? It's $100 million. What do you think? Well, it's going to be critically panned. Nobody we know, no smart people are going to see this film.
Right.
Maybe we'll make half of it back in U.S. sales and whatever, DVDs and whatever. But where we're going to make our money is in foreign countries and all the distribution.
I found out, I wrote a column about sports movies and about how it's kind of a dying breed and it's moving toward television shows and documentaries, things like that. And somebody pointed out the reason that there's so many boxing movies is because it's the one sport that you can kind of sell internationally. Because everybody fights.
Right.
If you sell a baseball movie to Hungary, they're not going to care.
Right.
But if it's two guys, with their dukes up.
Sure.
So I thought that was interesting because there's been like basically a boxing movie every year.
Yeah, and football movies, baseball movies, and trying to think what's another exclusively
like basketball
American.
movies don't do well.
Right. Yeah. None of those except for Eddie.
What'd you think of the fighter?
Movie. That was awesome.
What'd you think of the fighter?
I thought it was good. I ran into Wahlberg. Actually, I had a great 1-2 punch. I don't know if I told you this,
no,
but
I don't know if you did.
I was out. It was about 2.5-3 years ago, and I was out at the Beverly Hills Hotel, sitting outside in the big pink hotel, like at their lunchroom in the veranda, and I was sitting there with my program director and another muckety muck from like CBS Radio. And they're basically explaining to me how they're going to blow up the radio station, but they wanted to move me to New York, the biggest market they have, And I was sitting there sort of contemplating this notion of moving the family, being away from all you guys for football Sunday and all that stuff, and my cars into the snow. And I'm like sitting outside, just sitting out at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and these are kind of with my bosses. And all of a sudden, I hear this voice. Hey, Adam, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? Walks over to the table. It's Mark Wahlberg. He's coming over to the table. How's it going, buddy? How's it going? Hey, great to see him now. And I'm like, yeah, that's this guy. I'm introducing him. I'm looking like the coolest dude in the world, because especially you want to do this kind of crap in front of your bosses because your stock is going up. He had cellophane on his arms because he was having tattoos removed, which is ironic because Mickey Ward had that big cross on his arm.
Oh, yeah.
But evidently Wahlberg had other tattoos, and he was going through this long, painful laser. We act like the laser's going to zap you once, and you're going to be good-looking, and your tattoos are going to be gone, and all your butt hair's going to fall out. No, it takes like multiple, painful, whatever. But he was going through that process. But it was like, I know Mark Wahlberg. I'm friendly with him, but he was like overly friendly. Like, hey, hug it out. Hey, buddy. And all that. And I knew he was working on the fighter, and we talked about it. We talked on the phone a few times about it because I'd made my own boxing movie and that kind of stuff. So then I was sitting there preening like, hey, that's Marky Mark coming over to pay tribute to the Ace Man. 10 minutes later, my bubble was burst when Byron Allen came over to hug it out. And I thought, wow, this is we should have paid the check and got out of here before Byron Allen came over. Nicest guy in the world, but in terms of star juice, you know what I mean? Better just to go out with that memory of Wahlberg. I liked the movie. I didn't love it as much as I was kind of wanting to love it, but I liked it a lot.
It was solid.
It was solid. And it went, that sort of trajectory that all boxing movies go. And then I was trying to kind of picture the movie without, what's his name in it? The the brother.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, I was trying to picture it without Christian Bale, and I thought if it didn't have
normal actor.
Yeah, if it just had a regular actor in there, I don't think it would be nearly the movie it was, which I guess is smart, and you got to give him credit for it. But Christian Bale's performance, which is going to be, Oscar worthy, at least the nomination, really helped a lot. It was like a well done, good boxing movie, but it didn't make me go like, holy good God, this is...
I think we've run out of ways to do a boxing movie. And you thought with that, you made your own. But it's like the underdog, he gets his life together.
It's the same story.
He finds a girl, and he has the big fight.
It was well done.
We haven't done One Direction, though.
Hmm.
The fighter who's battling...
struggling with his sexuality?
Struggling with his sexuality.
Yeah.
Falls for either his trainer or another boxer, and basically it's gay Rocky.
Yeah. Gay Rocky. Most of the guys in Rocky are gay anyway. I don't understand why there wouldn't be a gay Rocky. I went back, actually, it's funny because I went back and watched The Town because this must be insane to you that, and for me, that
this Boston movie boom that's happened?
The Boston everything. I grew up in North Hollywood. I literally hadn't heard of Boston. I knew who Steve Grogan was. That was about it.
Yeah.
And
that's really in Dave Cowens.
I knew Jim Rice and Steve Grogan were, and that was it my entire life. And I'd successfully made it to like age 37 and a half without even... I've never even met someone from Boston. And then in the last 8 years, there's been an avalanche of Boston movies, Boston sports. Just half the people I know are now from Boston.
Yeah.
It's totally insane.
We're coming to get you.
I know. But I watched The Town, and I thought, I liked that movie. That was a good...
Town was good.
That was a good Bostonian movie.
Slightly dicey ending, but we'll let it slide.
But you know what? I watched it a second time, and I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm going to watch The Fighter second time as well. I liked it a lot. It was a good,
the thing about Boston movies that I think is appealing to Hollywood people is you got the accents, which are hard to kind of pull off, and they can go a lot of different ways. Mm-hmm. And people love casting we did a search for locals who have speaking parts, and they do that whole thing. It's nice setting. It's gritty. Chicago is like romantic comedy town for some reason.
Yeah, Boston is
nobody does gritty Chicago movies.
They used to. They don't do them anymore. Now they're all gritty.
And like
Boston
San Francisco was never used. Like 48 Hours, I thought used San Francisco as well as any movie, and that's a city that should be used all the time.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. There used to be a lot of San Francisco, like Bullet, Steve McQueen's Bullet. There used to be a lot of cars jumping on those hills, like catching air. They used to do a lot of chase scenes where cars got airborne.
Yeah.
Somewhere from like 1972 to 1978, someone went, there's nothing cooler than a car catching air flying down one of those San Francisco hill streets. And that's what they did. But they must have passed some sort of ordinance or something that said no more catching air in the middle of the town. Yeah. And thus, that's all they had to offer. Let me offer this to you. Mark Wahlberg playing Irish Mickey Ward.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a situation in a boxing movie especially, but any sports movie, where they said to the actor, listen, easy on the curls. Mickey Ward's arms were never that big.
Right.
Like, you must shrink your biceps in order to play this role.
What do you think? He was 30 pounds heavier than Mickey Ward fought at 139? Wahlberg's got to be 175.
I know, and I know it's like he likes showing off the guns and everything, and he was in, people do that. He was in amazing shape. Mickey Ward was in decent shape, but Mickey Ward never had the guns that Wahlberg had, which is weird.
It was weird that movie ended before any of the Ward Gotti fights, which will be Ward's legacy. I didn't even remember the fight that they had as the final fight.
No, I didn't either, and Mickey Ward was not put on the map at all until the Gotti fight.
Ward Gotti won was what?
That's what put him on the map, and then I think Gotti won the next two. I know he won the last one sort of handily. Like the third fight, I think Gotti won pretty handily.
What fight are you most excited for?
It was
in 2011. Pacquiao who?
Well, I mean, obviously Mayweather.
I'm writing that off. That has no chance.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah, I think Mayweather has. I think that ship has sailed.
Does Mayweather?
Mentally, he's out. checked out.
But Mayweather has another fight or two in his career. I mean, doesn't Mayweather want $40 million?
It'll be like a Roy Jones type situation where he comes back well after the moment had passed, and somebody will knock him down.
Are people? Here's what I can't figure out. People speculate that Mayweather doesn't want to fight Pacquiao, and that's why he's not fighting him. I don't
think
feel.
he does.
Yeah, but I don't feel. I mean, first off, his Olympic drug style testing does not sound too out of order to me. I don't understand. Like, look,
Pacquiao did get a little bit of a free ride for protesting that somebody would just basically draw his blood. What was it, within like a week of the fight?
It was something. It was
like a fair request.
It was a couple of drops. I mean,
Yeah.
it was no. I mean, here's the deal. You know, whatever your belief system is, I don't care what your belief system is. It's science.
Yeah.
If a guy can draw some blood and then run a marathon in the Olympics, or do a decathlon,
Yeah.
or do cross-country skiing, then you can box. There's no medical reason why if somebody draws a couple of drops of blood from you, it's not going to affect you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So number one. So the idea that he had that Mayweather had his suspicions about Pacquiao and said, why don't we just do Olympic-style testing? And Pacquiao said no, and then that meant Mayweather was trying to duck him. I don't understand that premise.
I don't either.
And everyone does this thing where they go, well, they have testing in boxing, and they have blah, blah, blah. Well, evidently it's not
really
that stringent. And what's wrong with Olympic-style testing? It's like, okay, there's a very thorough technique of testing that we already have in place on the biggest sports field on the planet, and it's called Olympic testing, Olympic-style testing. Why not just implement that, by the way, in every sport? Like, I don't understand why.
So we're writing off Pacquiao Mayweather.
I guess so.
So name me a fight. Like, I feel like Sergio Martinez against somebody would be awesome.
Is that the Latin snake?
He's that guy who crushed Paul Williams. That was the punch of the year.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's not the Latin snake. That's another
who's
Sergio.
the best 168 guy? I'm drawing a blank.
Well, you got Kelly Pavlik's in rehab.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's done, but he's in rehab. Paul Williams.
One of the Andres is up there. It's either Andre Ward or Andre Thurell.
Yeah. See, it's sad to say, but I'm now kind of UFC'd up and not so much.
The thing with the UFC
pugilism.
is there's so much turnover.
Yeah.
Somebody's the guy, and then 6 months later, there's a new the guy. And
I know.
It's just constant. It's
he's
the guy. No, he's the guy. No, he's the guy.
I had yesterday Jason Mayhem Miller from Bully Beatdown.
Nice name. Strong name.
Came to my house and we worked out.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You're not going to dabble in UFC.
No, I taught him how to. I didn't teach him how, but I helped him use his hands because some of the UFC guys aren't as strong with the hands. They're better with everything else, you know.
Yeah. So
gave him a few pointers.
So off the top of your head, once again, we're in a scenario where Klitschko versus Klitschko is our only hope for an interesting boxing fight in 2011.
Well, there's no heavyweights to
heavyweight division. Well, who's the guy from England?
They need the brother.
No, there's a dude from England, that David Hyde.
There needs to be first off, there needs to be a super heavyweight division because the guys that are 6'6" and 255 can't fight the guys.
That's a good idea because
size.
Well, think when they came up with the divisions, it was like 1890 or something, and people, ever been in a house in 1890? Like the ceilings are like 5'8".
Well, the whole point.
Heavyweight seemed huge in 1890, but now it's like we have 260-pound guys now.
Obviously, Rocky Marciano was 185 pounds, and there's plenty of guys that fought, under 200 pounds as heavyweights. But
but Rocky Marciano against Klitschko would have been a disaster.
I know.
It's like a 90-pound weight difference.
Well, here's the point. Why do you have weight divisions in boxing? It's to even the playing field, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, everyone would agree that even though Manny Pacquiao is the greatest pound for pound fighter on the planet, that a good light heavyweight would probably take him out, even if he was a top 20 guy.
Yeah, but we're going to have to see that, though.
And we're gonna have to
that might
see
be
it.
the best fight, because I was thinking Pacquiao-Pavlik, just because Pavlik's a little washed up. He's had some problems.
But let's just say the point is we have the reason boxing changes divisions every 9 pounds is because it's a distinct advantage to have 25 pounds on a guy in there. But then we get to the heavyweight, and all of a sudden you got some 218-pound guy going against a 275-pound guy, and that's more than 50 pounds, and we don't care. I think we need to do a super heavyweight division.
What would the weight limit be? 220 and over?
I think you go 230 and over. But the point is it's academic because there's no heavy, Areola's going to make a comeback, but who gives a crap?
Yeah.
It's all Klitschko's, and the Klitschko's got to be kind of PO'd because they don't get paydays. They need to fight each other, like we said. But in boxing,
we got to figure out how to make that happen.
And I can't believe Bernard Hopkins is turning 46 and still great. I mean, that's unbelievable.
And still with the executioner gimmick.
Right.
Pete Diddy's changed his gimmick 38 times.
Yeah.
And Bernard Hopkins is still coming out as the executioner.
I know.
Hasn't mixed it up at all. Same music.
And I don't even know if young people know that guy. The real executioner now, guy, is a doctor who works at a prison.
Right.
He's probably wearing slacks and a sports coat.
Have you been, did you watch the playoffs last week? Are you in? Do you have opinions?
I have opinions.
What are your opinions?
Well, the Seattle win over the Saints was the biggest Rams win in the last 8 years. That's one thing I figured out.
Because they lost to the team that then won.
Yeah.
So it was moral. Yeah, all right.
But arguably, in the last 8 years, I'd say that's the biggest Rams win.
Right.
It was another team
proxy.
that won, but I could say biggest moral. I mean, as a Rams fan,
biggest proxy
one
win.
of our biggest moments.
Yeah.
I was sitting in Miami 2 Sundays ago with Mike August watching my Rams not score a touchdown against the lowly Seattle Seahawks. And when Seattle won, I said to Mike, who's a Saints fan, I said, they're gonna win. I said, just to screw everything up.
Why didn't you wager on that then?
They're going to
plus 450.
Well, you know me. I lose every time I bet.
No,
so I've sworn off betting. But I said they're going to win because they're at home and because the Saints are all over the road this year. Yeah. And Hasselbeck's capable of playing well in the playoffs, and he can do it. And so now, so here's my feeling. Your Pats are going to destroy the Jets. I know we're trying to build this thing up, but the Pats at home, Brady at home, Brady in the snow, 26-0 at home.
Well, the other thing is the Jets barely beat the Colts, and the Colts
barely.
weren't even good. And it was like if Cromartie doesn't get that kick return, they're going to lose that game.
Yeah, if he doesn't take it out of the 45, they don't win that game. Yeah. So and Sanchez is not good, or he's sporadic. I mean, no way. Obviously the game of the week, Steelers and Ravens. If you have a strong opinion one way or the other on that game, you don't know football because it's really who the hell knows. All I can say is this. In years past, it was always the Ravens' defense against the Steelers' offense.
That's flipped.
Now they have, at least they have Flacco. And now Flacco's maturing into a decent quarterback.
See, I have a semi-strong opinion.
All right, let's hear it.
I don't think the Ravens are going to run on the Steelers. It's just not going to happen. So Flacco's going to have to win the game. I still don't trust him. I don't trust him on the road against a great defense. I don't think he has that peripheral vision.
Well,
guys can come around from him and swat the ball and hit him from behind.
Plus, you can't see Troy Polamalu's hair coming from a country mile.
Or hear him.
You should at least hear him, but you should see the hair. The hair sticks out 3 feet further than his shoulder pads.
Yeah, that's true. I still like Roethlisberger.
You should literally feel the hair get to you before he does.
To me, it's a Roethlisberger game. I think he's proven a few things. One, that he probably shouldn't drink.
Sure. 2, or ride a motorcycle.
And then 3.
He likes the ladies.
Maybe want to tone that down a little bit.
Beat Shaq at horse.
I think he's good in close games. I trust him.
I do too.
I trust him in a tight game to come through.
He's Well, first off, a dude that size and that strong who can scramble, improvise, and make things happen.
4 extra plays a game.
Yeah, it's amazing. Okay, well, here's the deal. Why would you ever bet against the Steelers come playoff time? They have won.
You
more,
would if they're playing the Patriots.
Yes, but they've won more playoff games and have more rings, and there's a reason why they have all those rings.
Right.
They get through this part of the season to get to the
That's
Super
true.
Bowl, and they're at home. So I would take the Steelers in that game, although I will say the caveat is Flacco is sort of turning into a quarterback, whereas before the Ravens would give the ball to Trent Dilfer and go, don't lose it for us, let the defense go out and win. Maybe Flacco can put a little offense on the board.
You concerned that everybody on the planet likes the Packers and nobody likes the Falcons, given just 2.5 as a number 1 seed indoors. Packers playing 6 days after their last game.
Mean, the Packers just got by. They're playing this in Atlanta, right?
Everybody's fired up for the Packers.
I don't think the Packers are as good as a matter of fact, as a Pats fan, it's a good year because I don't think Atlanta's that great. I don't think the Packers are that great. I don't think obviously Ravens have a good defense. Pittsburgh has been kind of all over the place.
You know who I'm afraid of if we make the Super Bowl?
Don't say not Chicago.
No, Seattle.
Seattle.
It just, what would be a worse loss in the history of sports than your 17-point favorite against the 10-9 Seahawks? Or
No,
the
I
record
mean,
would be
that's
Pete
what,
Carroll, who we fired, who we made fun of for 3 years.
Right.
It's like a no-win. It's like you win, everyone expects you to win. If you lose, people will be talking about it for generations.
Well, first let's think about this. I feel like Seattle has a better chance against Chicago.
I made that
team.
pick today because Jay Cutler is given 10 points. Never ever won a playoff game. I don't trust Jay Cutler.
Well, by the way, has Chicago been dominating anyone
No.
this year? People act like Chicago's a good team. I've not really seen it. Like, they've not been that impressive to me.
They've gotten better offensively as the year went along, but defensively they gave up, I think, 26 to Philly, 36 to the Pats, 34 to the Jets. This was all in Chicago.
Right.
So it's not like a defense that just dominates teams.
You also have a couple of teams, you have Green Bay. It's like, it's funny how football works and how sports work, like where people go, oh, man, Green Bay's, they're looking good. Yeah, Green Bay's looking good. Philly almost beat them. I mean,
Green Bay lets teams hang around.
Vic threw a bad pass at the end.
Green Bay makes mistakes. They have dumb penalties. They screw up the clock. They let teams hang around. That's the type of team that loses on the road.
I think the Falcons are going to put some points on the board. And
I'm shocked by nobody thinks the Falcons, because they lost that Monday night game to the Saints, which everyone watched, and for people that just locked them out.
I think there's the Patriots, and I feel like the Patriots are 13.5 points better than every other team that's currently involved in the mix right now.
Baltimore is going to be a tough one.
Because
they already came into New England and beat the Pats.
They're not. Here's what I'm saying is if I'm just jumping ahead and saying if somehow magically the Pats could play any of these teams in Dallas Stadium with a 2-week break. I don't know if we're doing 2 weeks this year.
We're doing 2 weeks.
2 weeks break. Belichick in Dallas Stadium. I have the Pats over 10 points on any team that they're playing.
The team that beats them is going to be a team that does what the Giants did. You got to shorten the game, make it ugly, make it one of those Brady doesn't get the ball enough, it has no flow to it. That's the type of game they lose.
I think the Falcons maybe even surprise people with a 27-13 type win.
I think it's going to be Pats Falcons. Yeah. I really do. I think that's the matchup.
I think the Steelers, just by virtue of fact of Big Ben healthy, foot not screwed up, Charlie Batch not in there. It's Steelers. It's the playoffs. It's where are they playing? Riverfront, Gillette, Hines, whatever. They're at home. They're next to the Three Rivers. It's Big Ben. The elements. They're going to win.
You just reminded me. Your theory is that, what is it? HBO could do 24/7 on anything and you'd watch?
Well,
Where would you draw the line?
okay. I've watched.
How about competitive Scrabble?
I would watch. I have watched Daniel Kelson and Jimmy Kimmel play Scrabble for hours on end on vacation, just alone anyway.
Yeah,
So,
which is really the least exciting thing you can do on a
I know.
vacation.
I think what they do is they sit around on the plane ride over to wherever we're going and go, how can we best mock Carolla? How about we play a game that involves spelling? and they know I can't play because I don't know how to spell.
Yeah.
So then I have
Tough one
to
for
sit
you.
there and watch those two go back and forth playing
Jimmy
Scrabble.
knows all like the weird 2-letter words now too.
Yeah.
QY.
Yeah, I know.
What?
And
What's
then-
that word? Wow, that's the derivative for metal.
And the great thing is every 9 moves, there's a huge argument about if that's really a word or not.
And then Daniel upping the stakes.
Yeah, and
Scrabble's a
and
good
then
one.
somebody going for the book for the Scrabble dictionary.
So 24/7.
I would watch. Well, here's the thing. It's so the narration's incredible.
Yeah.
The film work. I mean, the camera work's insane.
Especially how little time they have.
Right
To turn that over in a week, I don't
Yeah.
think people have any idea how difficult that is.
No, it's sometimes even faster. It's, like
It's incredible
their
that they
first
can do it
playoff
that
game is
good.
tomorrow. And
Yeah.
You're like, what? It is tomorrow. I'll tell you what I think. I would watch a 24/7 on when I was a kid. We didn't have a lot of video games and things, go-karts and mini bikes. The rule at the Carolla household was if it took gasoline, took batteries, or plugged in to the wall, we couldn't have it as a toy. So there wasn't much going on.
The other
Almost
row is just leave.
Amish-esque, yes. Part of the exciting things we would do, I did have sea monkeys once, was you take avocado. It's a California thing. You take the avocado, you cut it in half, you take the pit out of it, or the seed out of it. You put like 3 toothpicks in the side of it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you put it in Ray's ass. I was worried.
No,
Okay.
that came later.
Okay, sorry.
You put the toothpicks in it. You set it in a mason jar filled with water. So like the bottom end of it is in the water.
Yeah.
And then you put it on the windowsill in the kitchen so the sunlight hits it. And after about a month, a little green sprout, like a stalk, will start growing out of it.
Yeah.
And if you let it sit for like 6 months, it'll eventually turn into a big sort of chia pet. It just plant life springing everywhere from it. That I would watch if they made a 24/7, and that's a push because it'd have the guy like, first the seed is removed from the avocado. On a side note, an avocado is a fruit; it's not a vegetable.
Here at the avocado farm in North Hollywood,
Right?
I really want a Kentucky Derby 24/7.
Yeah.
I want to dive into that world with the weird jockeys who don't eat and who their
Yeah.
teeth are falling out
And
and they all hate each
they all
other.
hate
And they're
each other.
angry. And let's
They're
go
weird.
there.
They're like it's funny because you think of big dudes as being badasses.
Yeah.
And maybe they are, but they don't fight nearly as much. It's sort of like Chihuahuas.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Fighting-
It's like the little dog analogy.
just
Little dogs are
yapping.
just angry.
Yeah, angry.
Yeah.
Well, also, you take a little guy and then you deprive him of food and he gets
Right.
pissed off, you know? I mean, you want to get someone angry, just don't give them food. Like, they get surly, you know? Like, once in a while you'll talk to people. We have those buddies who once a year go on the master cleanse.
Yeah.
And you'll talk to them like day 5, like, what's up? Why? Why do you want to know? What's it up? Why? And you go, what's up? What's up? Nothing.
What's up? I'm eating cayenne pepper every day.
Yeah.
That's
and
what's up.
Drinking tap water and honey and cayenne pepper. And then you'll do that thing where you go, I just called to see if you want to get some breakfast. Yeah, thanks. No. Like, yeah, you start getting surly when you get deprived.
That's why I
of
won't
stuff.
let my wife go on Survivor. I mean, it's one of the many reasons I won't let her go on. Because she would crush the challenges. I mean, she really would be. And she would be fantastic. But when she doesn't eat for like 8 hours, she gets surly. So if you put her on an island in 20 days with people like conniving and like, I really feel like she would murder somebody.
There'd be a lawsuit.
Yeah.
She'd stab someone with a sharpened piece of bamboo.
24/7, I would watch Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Wimbledon.
Well,
Let's follow.
I'm not blowing
Federer, Nadal, Wimbledon.
I'm not blowing
watching.
smoke up the good folks over at ESPN, but it's kind of like 30 for 30. Like pretty much no topic.
Yeah.
I was surprised watching 30 for 30. I like sports, but I'm not a big NASCAR guy.
You're willing to dive into whatever.
But I dive into whatever on that just because it's cool. I mean, it's why documentaries are sort of better than films in general. You learn something. But, yeah, man, that 24/7, like, I didn't even care about, Pittsburgh hockey or whatever they're doing.
Would you watch the WNBA 24/7?
Wow. I
would.
I don't feel like there's a topic they could come up with that I wouldn't watch.
Curling?
Well, now.
How about, here's another one I thought of, that Kentucky Derby's my number one because I really want to dive into that world. But number two would be WrestleMania.
Yeah.
The 4 weeks leading up. And they'd have to give access. Like, here's really how we're putting the show together and all that stuff. And we're following these guys on the road. And
don't you feel like the Kentucky Derby, like, I feel like horse racing has a lot of secrets. And a lot of stuff they don't want you to know.
Horse racing's really weird because you have those super rich people who they're showing in the box, and there's weird stuff going on with each family. And, the jockeys I don't get, and then the fact that they have those weird scandals sometimes where people will just set the barns on fire and kill the horses for the insurance. It's definitely got an underbelly side.
Yeah, and I don't know if they want you to know about that underbelly side, but man, that notion of now you take your horse and you have that stud fee. Yeah. That's the greatest. I mean, you want to talk about win-win. Like,
I would say if you're a rich guy, over owning a sports team, I would think owning a horse that had a chance to win the Kentucky Derby would be the single most exciting rich guy moment you could have.
Yeah. Well, plus it's kind of it's a great business model because you're like, some guy comes to your house and goes, listen, I'd like your horse to rape my horse. And you go, all right, $250,000. That's for light raping. And they're like, all right.
It's just a one-timer.
It's just one-timer. No promises. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's a weird thing. And it's got to be nice for the horse because, like, they're athletes. And no athlete wants to leave the game. But leaving the game to go do this sounds pretty good.
It's much better than, I think, being at memorabilia shows signing autographs and stuff.
Yeah, with like arthritic hips and knees. Yeah.
You have a movie, but before we get to it,
that I do.
We were talking about Con Air. Let's just go over it quickly.
Oh boy, it's funny that you bring up Con Air.
Oh, is Con Air a lead-in for this movie?
No, but as I was working out the beats of this movie,
you studied Con Air?
Guantanamo.
Oh,
I was thinking it has some very Con Air elements in it, so it's funny that you bring that up.
I asked you this question at a Christmas party, but I'm going to ask you again. Mm-hmm. Were they in on the joke when the filmmakers of Con Air? Were they in on the joke?
No, I don't think they were, but I do think that if you got hold of Rennie Harlan or whoever made that movie, they would tell you they were kind of like it happens once in a while in the late 90s. Mid to late 90s, there was Pam Anderson came up.
Barbed Wire?
No, she had a series. A television series where she had like a detective agency.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't think of what the hell.
She now claims it was tongue-in-cheek?
Right. They were trying to do an action-packed, serious detective show. It was so comically bad that it became like springtime for Hitler.
Well, the best example ever was Tommy Wiseau in The Room. Or whatever that. You've ever seen that one?
No, I never saw it.
It's the one they play in Hollywood at midnight. It's like the new Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, really? I got to check that out.
Oh, my God. It's terrible. I see. I think because Con Air came out, I think, in 95. Mm-hmm. And The Rock came out right around there, too, which is another movie that's really super ridiculous. And I think this is right before the Internet.
Right.
When if you're trying to do this and you put the trailer out or whatever, the idea, like, people will just weigh in right away and rip it. Mm-hmm. And that put up people's guards with stuff. But there were no guards when Con Air was made.
Yeah.
The guard was down.
Right. Yeah, no.
They really thought, they were like, what if we landed this plane on the Las Vegas Strip?
Well,
I mean, we could. Those were the kind of ideas. There was no buffer.
Who doesn't know Vegas well enough to know, like, where the guy, he's literally like, I can't make McCarran. I got to land it on the Strip. It's like a McCarran is 4 blocks from the strip.
Right.
And you guys are flying at 300 miles an hour. Like,
Right.
you
could have made McCarran.
Yeah. I think he flew, like, over McCarran to get to the strip.
Plus, like, the amount of people that you would kill landing a plane on Las Vegas Strip at any point in any day, it would be thousands.
But, God bless them, no CGI involved there.
I
mean, they just simulated landing a plane, right?
It was really good.
On
I like that
strip.
that wasn't enough to end the movie.
That's
they were like,
the
you know
part
what?
that
I
throws
still need a car chase.
I still need Nic Cage to commandeer a cop bike and go
and then
after
climb on a fire engine and dangle from it.
Right. And then we're going to need Cyrus the Virus to go out with a pile driver, like literally a machine that drives piles into the ground, into the head. And
because I would argue with the sayonara.
Yeah,
that is a little sign that the filmmakers might have been in on the joke from the get-go and were saying to themselves, 15 years from now, people are going to be talking about this movie.
And again, my thing of whenever you flip a cigarette in slow motion,
never goes out.
Never goes out, and it always lights whatever it's going into. Right. Even as recently as Inglourious Bastards, at the end when they have all the film stock in the back and all the Nazis, the brother goes in the back and flips the cigarette into the film to start the fire. Slow motion. Boom. Never. And by the way, I've had that thing where I've like dumped vodka out on a countertop and put a lighter on it. And it didn't really light, but it kind of lit, but then it went out, and then I tried it again. And slow motion cigarette.
How about the lighter? I can't even keep a lighter going with my thumbs on it.
No.
There's people who can flip the lighter and throw it.
I would not feel wildly confident that whatever my cigarette landed on caught on fire.
I was trying to light
a mattress and I was white trash. That always works.
I was trying to light a fireplace the other day, and I was throwing the match on, and even that, I was 2 feet away and couldn't get it going.
Well, here's the thing about the fireplace. I don't understand. I don't understand how natural gas works. Like, you turn the natural gas on if you have one of those fireplaces. And you turn, and it's going. You can hear it. And you do a thing where you're a little freaked out and you throw a match in there. It's like nothing.
You just assume the whole
you
house
throw
is
another
blow.
match, go there, nothing. Then eventually you take that extendo lighter thing and you hold it in, and the thing just goes, woof, and you get your eyebrows singed off.
All the hair in your head.
Why wouldn't it catch the first 3 matches that got tossed in there?
Well, and why haven't we come up with a better system to light a fireplace?
I don't know, but I'll tell you the scene talking about movies that used to be in about every third action movie that I miss, which is this one, where the guy, I love it when the guy goes MacGyver on everyone's ass, where he looks outside and he sees the drug cartel hit squad out there, and then he looks out the back door and he sees the SWAT team coming in, and he does that move where he goes in the kitchen and he pulls the gas line off the stove, and it's like, shh. And then he does a thing where he takes a microwave and he puts like a Sterno can in the microwave and sets it for 99 seconds and then hits it. And somehow when the microwave goes off the entire, it works.
It's a good one.
Every single time. The best one was the latest Fast and Furious, the very last Fast and Furious.
Oh, yes.
The confidence that people have that this plan will work is insane. He did a thing, Vin Diesel, who may be in my new film, or not. I don't want to step on it. Vin Diesel, I'm sure your audience has seen this movie many times. The very last one, they recruit all the fast drivers to bring the drugs in from Mexico.
Yep.
And Vin infiltrates that group so he can kill the guy who killed his Michelle Rodriguez.
Yep.
All right. So he's in there, and at a certain point halfway in the movie, it turns out it's just a setup. They get all the drivers together, and they're going to kill him.
Yeah.
Vin does this thing, and by the way, he is at the top of the list of guys not being scared when people pulled guns or machetes or anything on him. Like, other actors, growing up, James Bond didn't, freak out when somebody pulled a gun on him, but he recognized there was a gun being pulled on him. Vin Diesel, every Vin Diesel movie where a guy takes a sawed-off shotgun and puts it under his chin, he's like, you don't got the guts. Like what? Vin, there's a sawed-off shotgun under your head and a crazed maniac who's killed many people before you. Why are you openly mocking him while he's holding this shotgun? But he did this move where he was in his car, and he pulled out the NOS pipe.
Oh, yeah,
and he turned the NOS on, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, shh. Then he took the cigarette lighter and he pushed the cigarette lighter down. Now, anyone who's ever driven an old car knows the cigarette lighter pops up the second you move your finger.
Yeah.
It's the first thing that goes in the old car. And then if you want to light a cigarette, you have to hold it down. You have to keep holding it down until it gets hot. But if you move your hand, it pops right back up again. He pushes the cigarette lighter down, turns on the NOS, and then he gets out of the car real slow. And he, like, walks over, and then the guy comes up with a gun. He's like, hey, S.A., you screwed up. You screwed up bad, man. And Vin's like, yeah, maybe you screwed up. And he's like, I'm going to kill you, and I killed your old lady. Now I'm going to kill you. And he's like, that's very interesting. And he's just sitting there, like, just talking. Meanwhile, the cigarette, I don't know why the cigarette lighter didn't pop up 20 minutes ago, but it doesn't.
No.
And then he's about to pull the trigger, and Vin is still just standing there preening. Smugly
He's very
preening,
confident
like
in the
he
cigarette
knows
lighter.
that cigarette lighter's going to pop up, and there's going to be a huge ball of flame that comes from his Chevelle, and everything's going to work out. The guy, they show him like he's like squeezing the trigger, and Vin's like, "Yep, not a care in the world." And sure enough, the cigarette lighter pops up, boom, whole
blow
thing
up.
goes up. But
for 5, you know who's in 5, right?
Who?
Fast and Furious 5.
Who's in there?
The Rock.
Oh, he's like a tall Vin Diesel.
The Rock plays. So apparently, the plot for 5 is that Paul Walker is now crossed over. He's with Vin Diesel. They're doing their thing.
Well, at the end of 4, he was picking him up. He was picking off the prison
So now
bus.
Paul Walker's gone rogue. He's off the. He's a bad guy now, basically. But a good guy. He's a bad guy, good guy. Now the Rock is a cop who has to chase them down. You rarely see you see the gimmicky get the two together, but you rarely see this kind of level of getting the two together. It's a good film for The Rock.
I'm looking forward to that. I saw The Rock's last movie,
Faster,
and
one of those titles that I think it was your theory where they gave them the title
like Face Off.
Yeah, they're just like we're gonna make a movie called Faster with The Rock, but we don't have a script.
Yeah. I'll put together a list. Sudden Impact was one of them. I know Face Off was one of them. They
bought the trademark and the website, and that's all they had.
And they're like, all right, now we got to write a movie around this. And somebody raised their hand like, Face Off, is that a hockey movie? No. What if we just had his face come off?
And we put it on
another fat guy's head. Like, all right.
That's another movie from what we talked about before with that era before the internet.
Yeah.
Face Off. Cage and Travolta. Travolta's 20 pounds heavier than Cage. Cage has a pea head.
Also, last I checked, and maybe this is just me, but if they peeled your face off of you and then laid it onto my face, I don't think I could fool my wife.
Well, then, especially like body-wise, genitals-wise.
Yeah, just especially when you started complaining all the time and started talking about the Rams instead of the Patriots and stuff like that. Like, I got to believe our wives would catch on fairly quickly.
My wife would catch on within 5 weeks.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm out working on my car.
Yeah. But
Hold on, I got a box.
Bill, it's a lease. I don't care. Now go get me some more Rams memorabilia. Yeah, it'd be very confusing, and I don't think we could pull it off. And by the way, taking just a couple millimeters of skin that are on your face and laying it over, and I don't think that's going to fool anybody.
There's a scene in that movie where in 30 seconds the guy explains everything they're going to do, and it's like, so we have the hair plugs, we have the blah, 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 we've shrunk his ears, we've done this, we've done that.
I like the part, there's a great part in that movie where he has to go to prison to talk to his brother to try to find out where he like planted the dirty bomb or something.
Right.
And his brother's very suspicious. Like, it's a weird, like, here's the thing. If somebody walked through my front door who looked exactly like my sister and sounded exactly like my sister and started asking me a couple of questions like, what do you pay? What's the mortgage on your house? I wouldn't be like, I don't know. Is that really my sister? I'd pretty bought into the fact that it was because it looked exactly like my sister and sounded exactly like my sister. The brother in prison, immediately suspicious that the guy who looks and sounds exactly like his brother's not his brother, as if he's aware of the face-off technology. That's the weird part in the movie. Like, well, you would not be suspicious. If some guy came in here and looked exactly like Cousin Sal and sounded exactly like Cousin Sal, but he started asking a couple of probing questions, you'd be like, I bet that's not really Cousin Sal. I bet someone took his face off and put it on this other guy who looks like you wouldn't have any idea.
Yeah. You know what? We went so long here with Adam that we had to cut this podcast into 2 parts. So check out part 2 on ESPN.com or iTunes. This is the end of part 1. Check out part 2.
So I get to sign off. Whoa!
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Pod Center at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.